Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Writing with Mrs. Lyons. Today's class, we're going to focus on writing animal reports. If you haven't written your animal report, or if you have written it and just need to add a little bit more details or excitement to it, today's class is just for you. We're going to learn all about how to add expression and details in our reports to make it more interesting. Are you ready? Let's get started. Now, to make your report interesting, start with the lead or hook. You want to hook your reader to keep them reading your report. So let's look at some examples. Normally, I would use these lead examples for stories that you would write about, a character, but some of these leads will work with your animal report. Now let's take a look at the first one. The first one, it's a long word. It's called onomatopoeia. And onomatopoeia are sound effect. It's a sound effect. Sometimes when you look at those old Superman videos or movies or shows, they'll say zap, bang, boom. Zap, zang, bang, or boom are onomatopoeia. It's a sound effect. Let's look at the sentence. Boom! Joseph and Jake both heard the loud noise and ran as fast as they could. Now, boom will be nice if you're writing it into a story, but you can also use onomatopoeia in your animal report. For example, if you were writing a report about a dog, you could say bark, bark, or roof, roof. These are onomatopoeia sound effects. So you can use bark, bark, or roof, roof as the sound effect that a dog makes when he is happy, excited, or angry. Onomatopoeia. The next things that you can use in your animal report is a question. A question helps the readers think about what you're going to tell them about your report. Let's look at the example here. Do you know how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? When you're asking your readers about a question, it makes them think more about that subject. So you could ask a question about your animal. Did you know that a whale eats tons of krill each day just to make sure that it's full? You can start with a question, and that'll help the reader either understand your topic or it may wow them to want to keep reading more. Another lead that or a hook that you can use in your report is to say a repeated phrase or idea. Oh no, oh no, oh no. That would be something that you could use in your story, but you can also use it as a repeating phrase. For example, if we were doing a report about an earthworm, wiggle, 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 you could put that in to show how an earthworm moves. So these are three examples of how you can use leads to help your report sound interesting, especially when you're trying to give a presentation. When you're just sitting there or standing there reading information from a page, it can be a little bit boring to the reader. But if you're giving them some of these leads or hooks, it may capture their attention and it will make them want to listen and read more of your report. So remember, onomatopoeia, a question, or a repeated phrase or idea. These are examples of how you can lead or hook your reader into wanting to hear more. Now, let's say that I was doing a report on earthworms. Here is a book from Mayan. I'm reading about earthworms and I have to get the information to make my report. So let's look at what the book says about where an earthworm lives. Okay, let's read it. Living in the soil. Earthworms live all around the world. They tunnel underground in moist soil. You can find them in fields, in woods, and along creeks. Now, this is the information, the facts that were given from a book that I found on Mayan about earthworms. Now, You know as a reporter that you're using facts or information that you get from a book, but you're not copying them directly. So I have to take the information that I have on earthworms and I have to change it and put it in my own words. Now, when I read Living in the Soil about earthworms, they were just facts. The book has to give you just facts. But now I have to make it a little bit more exciting so that when I give a report, the people will want to live or people will want to read more about this earthworm. So let's see how that can be done. Now we will rewrite the information in our own words and include a lead or hook. Are you ready? Let's go. Now, on the left is what the book said about how earthworms live or where they live. It said living in the soil. Earthworms live all around the world. They tunnel underground in moist soil. You can find them in fields, in woods, and along creeks. Now, to the left, that's what the book said. They gave us facts. But to the right, I had to rewrite what I read and put them in my own words. I used a lead, either a question, a sound effect, or a statement to make it sound more interesting. Let's take a look at the right. I rewrote it in my own word. Listen. Wiggle, wiggle. Did you know that an earthworm lives underground? One is probably wiggling underground under your feet right now. Earthworms make their homes underground in moist soil. They will make their home by tunneling underground on a soccer field, in the woods, or creeks behind your home. They may be under the ground on your school's playground or park. Now, you see that I used the same information that the book gave me, but I put more information in to make it sound more interesting. We know that earthworms live underground, but to say that one is probably wiggling under your ground your feet right now underground makes the reader think. It was like, wow, that's interesting, and it makes them want to read on. Now let's look at another example. We're going to continue to read and rewrite another part about earthworms. Are you ready? Let's go. Now, this is the same book about earthworms that I read on Mayan. All I did was turn the page. Now, this part talks about what an earthworm eats. Let's read it and find out more about earthworms. Earthworms eat rotten plant parts such as leaves and roots. A worm's droppings help make rich soil for plants too. We know that an earthworm eats leaves and roots and probably every part of a rotten plant, and that a earthworm's droppings or its excretion helps make rich soil for new plants to grow. So let's take a look at how I can use the facts from just this little bit of information and how I can make it exciting by using a lead to make the reader want to read more. Earthworms and what they eat. Take a look at the left. It said, earthworms eat rotten plant parts such as leaves and roots. A worm's dropping help make rich soil for plants too. Now here are just two simple sentences, but when I add my lead or hook, I can stretch this sentence to make it more interesting. Let's take a look at the right. Remember, I said that you can use a question mark, an onomatopoeia, or maybe a strong statement or a repeating phrase. Let's take a look at what I did. Don't throw away that rotting plant. Why, you ask? Earthworms love to eat all parts of a rotting plant. They eat the leaves, the stem, and roots of a plant. When the plant passes through the earthworm's body, it makes the soil rich for new plants to grow. Now, on the left, there are only 2 sentences, but on the right, I added a few leads or hooks to make it more interesting, and then I added parts of a plant that the earthworm would eat, and I talked about what happens to the plant once it goes through the earthworm's body. Again, more facts, the leads makes it more interesting so that the reader or the audience would want to listen to or read more. Let's continue. Girls, now it's your turn. We're going to take a look at the section in the book about predators. Let's read it. Let's look to your left. It says, tunnels also protect worms from predators such as birds and frogs, but sometimes an animal eats a worm's tail. The worm can grow a new one. Wow, that's interesting. That's an interesting fact. So now what I need you to do, I want you to read and write a lead or hook to keep your reader's attention. Make sure you include all of the information in the text. So you're going to get your own piece of paper and you're going to reread this section on the predators of an earthworm, and you're going to think of a lead or hook that will be interesting to keep your audience attention. You can start off with a question. You can start off with an onomatopoeia or a sound effect, or you can use a strong statement or a repeated phrase. If you do not have paper, you can go on the Blackboard site under the Writing tab on the first grade page, and you can print out your own paper. For this one, you could probably print out page number 1. It has lines, and then it has a place where you can draw your own picture. So I want you to practice. Make sure you add lots of excitement. I can't wait to hear them. Now, for those of you who have completed your animal project, thank you for emailing them to your teacher and turning them in. There are a lot of you who did not finish or are still working on your animal project. When you are finished with the animal project presentation, email it to your teacher. I will put your animal report on the Blackboard page under the Writing tab. Others will be able to see your report. And if you would like to go and see what others have done, you can go there to look at other people's or students' reports. If you still need help on your animal report, you can watch the movie on animal reports. This link can be found under the Writing tab on the first grade Blackboard section. Just go under the Writing tab and click on Animal Report Note-Taking for elephants. If you still have questions about your animal report, you can email me or you can email your teacher and they should be able to help. We look forward to seeing your animal reports really soon. Thank you for tuning in to Miss Lias' writing class about animal reports. Have a wonderful day.